If you're a student or professional who spends a fair amount of time sitting at a desk, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, you've probably come to notice and realize that how your desk is set up can really support you in getting your work done, being productive, being focused. This video is all about that. Maybe you're like me and you take in YouTube videos from people like Ali Abdaal, Thomas Frank, who, talk all about the importance of setting up your desk in ways that support your focus, your productivity for your work, in my case, academic work. Or maybe you just really enjoy a good picture of a desk on Instagram. That's sort of what this video is all about. I knew I wouldn't have a ton of time to make a video this week. Things are very busy in PhD land, but I still wanted to do something to check in with you, something that you might find interesting, and so I thought I would show you around my desk at home. I've been needing to spend a fair bit of time here this week, and so I did a few things to spruce things up, and I thought I would show you what I did. In case we haven't met before, my name's Jackie Beaulieu. I am currently a PhD candidate studying higher education at the University of Toronto. And if you're interested in learning more on ways to make your desk feel a little bit more cozy, maybe organized, a place where you can just really focus and get stuff done, then keep on watching. So my desk is a little bit small for what I would like, but I brought it with me from where I previously lived in British Columbia. And I wasn't studying at the time there, I was working full time, and this has been managing to make do, and maybe I'll upgrade it once I graduate and have some funds, but for the time being, it's fine. So the first thing on my desk is the biggest thing on my desk, and that is my computer. I was very fortunate to be gifted this iMac when, in and around when I started my program, and so thank you, Mom and Dad, for such a kind gift. It's not something I could have gotten for myself, but having a monitor makes a big difference when you're undertaking a PhD. It really helps when you have multiple documents open that you're working with. Just gives you a bit more space, but what's also really great about it is that it helps your posture, because with a laptop, unless you've got a stand for it, you might be a little bit hunched over, and over time, you might notice it in your neck, your back, that type of thing. So it's a great thing to have. You don't need to, go to the extent of getting a separate desktop, although this was a gift and I was so grateful to receive it, and it has helped being a separate desktop, but it's just not necessary. You can also easily go to the computer store and get a $200 HD monitor and hook it up to a laptop using a single cable, and that will basically mirror the display from your laptop to the monitor, and all of a sudden not only do you have a bigger screen to work with, but you could also have two screens to work with. You're able to, drag documents from one screen and put them on the other screen over there. So definitely recommend looking into something like that. I have that type of setup at school, just, a very inexpensive monitor, and it's made a world of difference in the time that I spend there. So next up we have the stationery and craft supplies corner. Starting up here, these are my favorite pens for doing artistic type work in my planner. These are Tombow dual tip pens. This end is a brush tip, this end is a marker tip. And what's really cool about these is that they are blendable, and so you can create new colors. You can also blend them together in the same picture, so like have one color flow to the next color. They're super cool. I'll come back to my archive ink in a second because it has to do with my fountain pen, which I'd like to talk more about. This drawer here is, the whole drawer itself actually came from Muji, and these are some pens from Muji that I use, as well as highlighters. I've had them for a long time. They last for quite some time. These are 3 sets of Mildliner pens. They're very popular highlighters. I've had them for some time. This pack came from Japan itself. That's where they're made, but you'll notice that they are now popular in North America, and you can buy them at most stores. They are highlighters. They are dual tipped, and so like a thicker tip on the top and a thinner tip on the bottom. And like I said, you can get them pretty much anywhere these days, which is really great. I actually have 2 more packs. These ones are harder to find in North America these days. You can get them from JetPens, but these are two of the newer packs of Mildliners. And basically what Mildliners are is instead of using, you know, the really strong fluorescent highlighters that you would see typically in offices and in university, these provide you with some, you know, different types of colors that you can use for highlighting purposes that sometimes in some ways just feel a little bit easier on the eyes or a little bit more creative. Then I've got my Tombow Twin Tone pens, and these are very similar to the brush pens that I showed you on top of my desk. They're smaller, they're ideal for using in notebooks such as bullet journals. They have a thick sort of tip and a thin tip, so they're double-sided as well. This drawer is sort of miscellaneous. I've got a mechanical pencil, I've got some pens that are erasable when you erase them with that sort of rubber tip at the end. Then there's some of my favorite black pens. This one here is a Pilot G-Tech C4. It's a little difficult to get it to focus on the name, but it's a great pen. Then I've got some black art pens. These are Pigma Microns in a variety of different sizes. They contain archival ink, which is really great for using highlighters over because it won't bleed. This drawer mainly contains some decorative pens that I have received from Simply Gilded, which is a company that makes washi tape, and you'll see that in the next drawer. I also have some non-refillable fountain pen cartridges should I need them. These ones are for my Lamy fountain pen, and these ones are for the Preppy pen by Pilot. Then I've got some of my washi tape collection. A lot of this was made by a company called Simply Gilded, which sort of does boutique washi. This is sort of the thing that I collect in life, and it's just something small and fun. The washis that are currently on my desk are the ones that I would be more likely to use sort of in the winter season. So there's most of the stationery, and we'll get back to sort of how this all flows together in a minute. I'm also currently wearing something that's on my desk, which is my computer glasses. They help to reduce the amount of blue light that your eyes are taking in later in the evening so that you can use your computer and devices, but hopefully not have it affect you as much when you're starting to get ready for bed. These can be helpful if you're like me, and sometimes, you know, although you do want to put the device down, you're in a little bit of a no-win situation in terms of needing to work later. And so these were very inexpensive. I got them for, you know, a very low amount of money on Amazon. Then we've got this plant. I literally have no idea what it's called, but I was told that having plants around where you study can be very beneficial for focus and productivity and just kind of your sense of well-being, and it can also just sort of make the space feel warmer. Also, I suppose it's providing oxygen, so yeah, I've got one of those. Next, I have some books that I just like to have lying close by so I'm reminded to read during my breaks. I find reading a paper book or my Kindle, which is easy on the eyes, is something that I enjoy doing during my breaks. And by reading during breaks, I actually get through more books than I would if I just didn't really consciously do that. And so that's why they're here. First book I'm reading is The Little Book of Hygge. I rented it from the library once before and really enjoyed it to the point that I just decided to get my own copy of the book. I hope I pronounced that right, by the way. Sort of just this idea of creating cozy spaces that you can enjoy, particularly in the darker winter months which we're entering. The second book is the book that I mentioned in my last video, which you can watch at the link that's about to pop up. It's called High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard, and it's all about the little things that you can be doing to support your productivity and motivation to do well each and every day. The gold book's my bullet journal, and this turquoise book here is my planner. This gold book is a dotted bullet journal, and I use it for all kinds of things. I use it to record daily affirmations and visualizations, sort of reflections in the mornings. I like to record notes from what I've read on a professional development level in here. I like to make to-do lists. There's just all kinds of things that this book comes in use for, and it goes everywhere with me. And then there's my trusty passion planner, which I've talked about on my channel a few times. And so if you'd like to learn more about that, you can watch this video that pops up here. I should have probably mentioned what this backdrop is here on my computer, since I know people have asked me about it. This is the Momentum Chrome extension, and basically what it does is it picks a new beautiful photo every single day. You have the opportunity to state a single focus for the day. You also have the opportunity to create a to-do list for the day. I think this syncs with Todoist for any of you who use that. I don't personally, but just thought you might appreciate knowing that. Then I've got a soy candle here. This came from Indigo. It is by a company I think called Illume or Illume. I can't really quite tell. Anyways, and it is a soy candle, so it is a little bit more healthy to be burning in your home than a paraffin candle, though you should certainly air your spaces out after using candles. It just has such a beautiful fall scent, and I really love it. Then there's the custom Starbucks I've been working on this afternoon. It was free thanks to points. And then the good old headphones that block out all kinds of external noise. These are great for if you're on campus and just are in a public space where you really need to focus. But I'll even use these when I'm at home just because it creates a really sort of lovely atmosphere that can just really help you to zone in on what you're doing. They are by Bose, and I believe they are the Quiet Comfort 2 headphones. Then I have my iPad, which is currently sporting a background that makes it look like Penny's computer book from Inspector Gadget. I will often have this on the side playing a study with me video while I work on the main computer. This keyboard is fantastic. It's made by a company called Bridge, and it makes your iPad feel more like a MacBook. I really love it. I take a lot of my notes at university on my iPad, and between the Apple Pencil and this keyboard, I am set to go. One of the great things about this keyboard is that you can literally have your iPad at almost any angle, which is wonderful when using it. And last but not least, my Lamy fountain pen. I absolutely love writing with this pen. It's literally my favorite pen right now. And here is the archival ink that I use to fill my fountain pen. What's really wonderful about archive ink is that once it dries, which is relatively quick, when you go over it with highlighters, it doesn't smear. And so this was a really creative solution as to how I could essentially use something very similar to the Micron pens that would not smear when I, used highlighters over it. And at the same time, the pen is reusable and the tip doesn't wear down as a felt tipped pen the Micron might. And so I've just been really enjoying using that. Anyways, those are some of the things that I typically have around when I'm working at my desk. This did turn into a little bit of a stationery show, but the bigger things to be thinking about are what's on my desk and what's not on my desk. The things that are on my desk are things that I'm going to need to grab for so that I'm not looking for them, or things that I would like to have there to remind me to use them. Going back to the example of the professional development books, having those sitting right next to me on my desk makes it very easy to grab for one of them when it's time to take a break. And just having them there also reminds me to take those breaks, because taking time every day to do some personal development reading is very important to me. And there's one last thing that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is this coaster, which I made. I was in grade 11 when I made it, and I was actually attending sort of a university enrichment course at Queen's. And we had sort of like a co-curricular night one night. We were staying in the residences there where we could make, pottery, like that type of stuff, ceramics. And so I love figure skating. And so I made this, and it's moved everywhere with me. It's been on every single desk that I've studied at, and for some reason it reminds me of where I came from. Because I love figure skating, I am a figure skater, but also, it's sat on, like I just said, every single desk that I have worked at, studied at, and I just can't imagine my desk without it. It wouldn't be the same. Anyway, so there's a quick desk tour for you. I hope that you found this enjoyable and interesting in some way. In the comment section below, let me know what item you liked the most on my desk, or if there's something that you also have and really enjoy. Or I'd also like to know actually what is not on my desk that should be on my desk. Maybe it's on your desk, or you've seen it on somebody else's desk and you think it would bring me joy, it would help me further focus and be productive while I'm working in this space. I've got to get back to work. So in the meantime, have a beautiful and productive week. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.